Hey guys, Paradox Cubing here, and welcome to my complete PLL guide. In this video, you will find the algorithms for all of the 21 PLL cases. Feel free to click on any one of these to skip to that part of the video, or check in the description for timestamps. Just a quick note about understanding the diagrams of the PLL cases. The dots act as arrowheads and represent where the piece is going to, and the tails are where that piece originally was. If you're having trouble understanding the diagrams, don't worry, I explained everything about each case before solving them. Also, if you don't know anything about PLL yet, I highly recommend learning to-look PLL before moving on to this. Check out the helpful links in the description for more info. Anyway, if you haven't clicked on one yet, let's get started with our list from the easiest to the hardest PLLs. So starting off with the H-perm, which looks like this, where none of the four edge pieces are solved, but all four of the corner pieces are solved, and the edges need to be switched opposite of each other. So the algorithm for this, while holding it in any direction, is M2, U, M2, U2, M2, U, M2. Next up is a Z-perm, where all four of the corners are solved and none of the four edges are solved. The only difference is the two edges need to be swapped adjacent of each other as opposed to opposite of each other. So you hold it so the edges that need to be switched are on the front and the right face, and you do the algorithm M2, U, M2, U, M prime, U2, M2, U2, M prime, U2. Next up is the U-perm that looks like this, where all four of the corner pieces are solved and only one of the edges are solved. There are two variations where the three edges can cycle either clockwise or counterclockwise. In this case, they cycle clockwise because the front edge color needs to be moved to the left side, so we know that the edges are going to cycle clockwise. The algorithm for this is R2, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R prime. The other U-perm looks like this, where the edges need to be cycled counterclockwise. You'll notice the front edge needs to go to the right side, so they're cycling counterclockwise, and again you hold the solved edge in the back, and you do the algorithm R, U prime, R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R2. Next up we have the A-perm, which also has two variations, and the way you recognize this is you look for this block that has a corner and its two adjacent edge pieces solved, as well as a pair of headlights that are either on the back or on the right side. In this case, they're at the back, so it's U-perm A, and you hold it like this with the headlights at the back, and the algorithm for this is X, which just means rotating it so that the yellow side is now at the back, and orange, or whatever your front face was, is now your up face. So it's R prime, U, R prime, D2, R, U prime, R prime, D2, R2, and now it's solved. The other A-perm, where the headlights are now on the right side and the corners need to be cycled counterclockwise, looks like this, and you also hold this block in the front left again. And now for the algorithm, you hold it so that the cube with the yellow face is now facing you, so yellow is your F face now. And you do the algorithm R2, U2, R, D, R prime, U2, R, D prime, R. And now it's solved. The T-perm probably looks like a very long and difficult algorithm to memorize, but it's fairly easy because it has a lot of patterns and triggers that are easy to memorize once you break the algorithm into several parts. So the way you recognize it is you look for a pair of headlights and you look for adjacent edges that are solved to the corner piece. So for this, the edge piece and this corner piece are solved like this, and you have this bar here, as well as at the back you have a bar here, and you hold the headlights to the left. And the algorithm for this is R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. Finally, we have the J-perms, and they're known as the J-perms because if you look at all the solved pieces, they make a J shape like this, where you have these three solved pieces plus this edge piece. So it looks like this, and there could be two where the solved edge piece could either be at the back or at the front. In this case, it's at the back, so it's J-perm B. And this is actually very similar to the T-perm, so if you memorize the T-perm, this should be very easy to memorize. To solve this, you hold the bar on the left side matching with its color, and you do R, U, R prime, F prime, and from here you can just do the T perm until the cube solves. So R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, and then you can just align the layer by doing a U prime at the end. And there you have it, that's J perm B. J perm A looks like this, very similar, but it sort of makes an L shape. Actually, it's the mirror of J perm B. So the edge is actually now at the front instead of the back of this left solved bar. Again, you hold the solved bar on the left side with its solved color, and you do the algorithm U prime, R prime, U, L prime, U2, R, U prime, R prime, U2, R, L. There's not really a shortcut for memorizing this like there was for the last one, but there are some patterns that you can look for around the cube and it'll help you solve it. For the Y perm, it actually looks like this, where you have these two 1x2 blocks and another one here that are solved, and then you have this one outlying corner that is not solved, and the other three pieces are also not solved. So the algorithm for this is actually just made up of two separate OLLs. And if you know those OLLs, you can do this algorithm very easily. It requires no memorization if you already know the OLLs right there. But if you don't, then the algorithm goes F, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. And that was the first OLL. Then you'll notice you have this T case, and if you know this OLL, then you can just do the algorithm to solve it. And that is R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R, F prime. And that solves the Y perm. Next, let's take a look at the R permutations. In this, you have a pair of headlights, and then you have either an edge that's solved adjacent to one of the headlights. So it could be either on the left side or the right side of the headlights when they're facing you. R perm B is when the edge is on the left side, and you're holding it so that the headlights are facing towards you. The algorithm for this is R prime U2, R U2, R prime F, R U, R prime U prime, R prime F prime, R2, and then U prime to align the last layer. For R perm A, now you have the solved edge on the right side as opposed to the left side of the pair of headlights. And you're actually going to hold it so that the headlights are on the left side when you perform this algorithm. And it goes R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R, D, R prime, U prime, R, D prime, R prime, U2, R prime. And you can just adjust the last layer at the end with a U prime. Next, let's take a look at the N permutations. They can be a little bit difficult to tell apart at times, but the way I think of it is if you look at the two unsolved pieces on this face, so if you look at this face, there's one unsolved corner, but if you look at the other face, there's an unsolved corner and an edge, and you always look at this face. And if they're on the left side, it's N perm B. If these two pieces are on the right side, then it's N perm A. For N perm B, the algorithm goes R prime, U, L prime, U2, R, U prime, L, and you just repeat that entire part again. R prime, U, L prime, U2, R, U prime, L. And then you do a U prime at the end to align the last layer. So for N perm A, as I was talking about, these two unsolved pieces are now on the right side. So you always look at the two unsolved ones and the rest of the face. So the two unsolved ones are now on the right as opposed to the left. So it's N perm A, and you do the algorithm L, U prime, R, U2, L prime, U, R prime. And now you repeat that entire part again. L, U prime, R, U2, L prime, U, R prime, and then you can adjust the U face at the end. So the F perm looks like this, where you have a solved bar completely like this, and then the opposite edge piece is also solved. So these side pieces and these side pieces are unsolved, and it looks like this. The way you hold it is with the solved bar at the back, and the algorithm is quite long, and it could be a little bit hard to memorize sometimes, but you just have to work through it. And it's R prime, U2, R prime, lowercase d prime. Now don't get confused with regular d prime, which is this. Lowercase d prime is also with the middle layer. You move them both together like that. And then it's R prime, F prime, R2, U prime, R prime, U, R prime, F, R, U prime, F. Next, let's take a look at the E permutation. This is a fairly easily recognized case. As you can see, all 4 of the edge pieces are solved and none of the corner pieces are solved. The way you hold it though is with, you look at the right corner piece, and if the front color is the same as the edge on the right side, that's the proper way to hold it. If I was holding it like this, these colors are not the same, so that's not how you hold it. This is the face where you're going to perform the algorithm. To do the algorithm, first you have to do an X prime, which is just moving the yellow face towards you. So now the yellow is your front face, and the algorithm goes R, U prime, R prime, D, R, U, R prime, D prime, R, U, R prime, D, R, U prime, R prime, D prime. An easy way to remember this algorithm is that the outer triggers are R, U prime, R prime, as opposed to the inner triggers, which are R, U, R prime. And also, the D moves alternate from D to D prime to D to D prime again. The algorithm for the V perm is sort of similar to the F perm, but the case is not. So you'll notice this looks sort of like the A perm actually, where you have this corner piece and these 2 adjacent edges solved, but there are no headlights. This is a quick way to recognize this case if you're looking for an A perm or a V perm. There are no headlights for this. So you hold, again, this block in the front left, just like you do with the A permutations. And the algorithm for this goes R prime, U, R prime, and now lowercase d prime, just like with the F perm. And then R prime, F prime, R2, U prime, R prime, U, R prime, F, R, F. So the algorithm is fairly similar to the F perm, as you probably noticed, so this should be fairly easy if you know how to do the F permutation. Finally, let's take a look at all of the G perms. Now these are probably the hardest ones because there are corner pieces cycling as well as edge pieces cycling, and there is a pretty easy way to recognize these, but the algorithms are a little bit trickier to memorize in all of the other cases. Let's take a look at the first G perm. Now it doesn't really matter what they're called, but this is G perm C. And I don't really think of them as C or A or B or D or whatever they're called. I just look at how they're supposed to be solved. So the way you recognize a G perm is you look at the headlights. It has a pair of headlights as well as this 1x2 block that you see is solved. You hold it so that this 1x2 block is always solved. The other G perm cases are where, well, when you're looking at the headlights always on the left side, the 1x2 block could be here. It could also be here, or it can be in this final front right position. So those are the 4 different types of G permutations. Again, the 1x2 block could be here, could be in these 2 pieces, it could be these 2 pieces, or these 2 pieces. So this one is the first G perm. I just learned it, so this one's the first one, this is the second, these 2 are the third, and this is the 4th G perm. It doesn't really matter which ones you learn about. So this is actually called G perm C, in case you wanted to look up the algorithm somewhere else. But so the algorithm for G perm C goes R2 lowercase u prime. Notice how the middle layer is also turned with it. Then R U prime, R U, R prime, lowercase u, R2. And now an easy way to think of it is the parts in the brackets, the triggers that I've shown in this algorithm is just inserting the last F2L pair. So you don't really need to memorize this part. It's just inserting the F2L pair again. So that's an easier way to memorize this. So this is G perm B, where the solved block is now in this back right position and the headlights are still on the left side. And an easier way to memorize this is, as I said, the part in the brackets is taking out a pair or inserting a pair. So since the block is in the back right, you take out the back right pair. That's just a quick way to memorize this one. So you take out this back right pair, and then you rotate towards the pair, and you do the rest of the algorithm. R2, lowercase u, R prime, U, R, U prime, R, lowercase u prime, R2. Here is G perm D, where now the solved block is in this front right position. And again, for this, you take out the pair and you take out the front right pair because this block is now in the front right. So it's R, U, R prime to take out the pair. And now you rotate so that the white part of the pair is facing you by doing a Y prime rotation. And then the algorithm goes R2, lowercase u prime, R, U prime, R prime, U, R prime, lowercase u, R2. And finally, for the last G perm A, where the block is in this front position, since the brackets are at the end of this algorithm, you're inserting that pair at the end. So the algorithm for this goes R2, lowercase u, R prime, U, R prime, U prime, R, lowercase u prime, R2, and now you just insert this pair into the front left position. So there you have it, guys, all 21 PLL cases and their algorithms in one video. If you found this video even the slightest bit helpful, consider that like button because I did put a lot of effort into making this video for you. If you're still having trouble with some cases or want an easy printable sheet to memorize these, check out some of the resourceful links I've left in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.